And now, it's cartoon time.
It is. It's a very cartoony week.
Except we didn't watch any cartoons.
And a very new week, too.
Yeah.
New stuff.
Oh, by the way, we're the horror guys.
Yes, we are. I'm Kevin.
I'm Brian.
And we're going to talk about some horror movies.
We are.
Cartoon horror movies.
Some of them.
They weren't originally cartoons. They were originally... Well, actually, no, I that's not correct. Popeye was originally a cartoon.
Yeah.
Okay. Little Mermaid was not. We're going to talk about Little Mermaid.
And Popeye.
And Popeye. Two versions.
And Popeye again.
Yeah.
We got lots of Popeye this week.
Yep. And a couple other horror movies that are new this year.
Yeah. And I will say that I liked 4 out of 5 of these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd probably go with that. I didn't hate any of them, but there's a definite loser here.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, what do we have?
Well, we have Presents, a ghostly kind of movie from this year, and The Parenting, a lighthearted horror movie. There's a lot of comedy in that one. And then we got, it actually, was it released this year or last year?
I think they all just came to streaming this year.
I think that, yeah, so there's a little bit of haziness there, but it's officially, I think, is 2024's The Little Mermaid. And this is not the Disney version.
It's not that live-action remake that everybody complained about either.
Right. Yeah.
This is a horror movie.
Uh-huh. And 2025's Popeye the Slayer Man. And then again, 2025's Popeye's Revenge.
Yeah, they both came out like the same week.
Pretty close.
What a coincidence.
Yeah.
And, of course, we are brought to you by the Horror Monthly Magazine, which issue 43 is due out next week sometime.
Oh, it is the end of the month, isn't it?
It is. It's getting right down there. Today's the 30th, I think. So a couple days, it'll be out.
Yep. What are we going to talk about first?
Oh, I don't know. My screen just went away.
Okay.
What are we talking about first?
We should talk about The Presents.
The Presents.
It's not The Presents. It's just Presents.
Yes, 2025's Presents. Directed by Steven Soderbergh. Written by David Cope. Stars Lucy Liu, Chris Sullivan, and Kalina Liang. Hour and 24 minutes. Trailer in the show notes.
It terrifies you, then leaves your heart on the floor, says Bloody Disgusting on the poster.
Wouldn't go that far.
At the top of the poster.
Wouldn't go that far.
It didn't leave my heart on the floor. No.
Well, it's filmed in an interesting way, with lots of swooping around, like we're the point of view of the ghost. So it's sort of the ghost point of view in this one. And there are a very low number of hard cuts, instead of going with lots of long, continuous shots.
Yeah, there'll be things going on in different rooms, and we'll swoop from room to room, seeing what's going on.
With ghost vision. Just wandering around the house.
Yep, basically.
We spent a lot of time in a closet and in the furniture, and yeah, it's a weird place.
Yeah.
The horror simmers in the background, while family drama and bad people things are in the front. We both kind of liked it, but didn't love it.
It was pretty good.
It was a family drama with the ghost.
Heavily. Yeah. Uh-huh.
What happens?
Well, we walk through a big, empty, dark house, and credits roll. Yeah. Opening scene. Yeah.
We already described the house walking, yes.
It's a great house. Nice house.
It is.
Yeah. Well, in the daytime, a woman rushes in and gets ready for a meeting. She's a realtor, and she's showing the house to Rebecca, Chris, and their kids, Tyler and Chloe. The house has just gone on the market, and they buy it. And the painters soon arrive to work, but no one of them refuses to go into one of the rooms. He's so
I'm going in
creeped
there.
out.
No way.
Yeah. Well, pretty soon the family is all moved in. And not long after, we see that Rebecca may have some shady business dealings, and she may have to face some repercussions. Chris worries about his own involvement in whatever she's done. He's thinking about separating from Rebecca. So we got drama going on. And then there's teenage kids, too. Chloe, on the other hand, she's still grieving from the death of her best friend, Nadia, who died suddenly. And she soon senses someone in the room with her. Well, the next day, the ghost picks up all her school books and puts them away for her, which, of course, she notices right away and kind of freaks out about. Chris and Rebecca talk about getting help for Chloe, who still clearly isn't over Nadia's death yet. Chris wants to get her a therapist, but Rebecca says it'll just take time. Well, meanwhile, Tyler brings a friend, Ryan, home to meet Chloe, and the two are soon a couple. They talk about Nadia, and he knew her too. And it was bad drugs, Chloe thinks. That's what they think the cause of death was. She also thinks Nadia's spirit might be in the house with them. Is that who's watching them?
Could be,
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, as soon as they start to make out, the shelf in the closet breaks down, interrupting things. And at dinner, Chloe asks the others about feeling a presence in the house. Tyler gets nasty with her, calling her an attention seeker, and everyone argues. It's a big old family drama thing. Chris mentions that Chloe knew both girls who died, and there were two of them. They both died from bad drugs. Well, even Chris thinks Tyler's being a jerk. When Tyler brags about posting a bad photo of a girl from school on the internet, the ghost wrecks his bedroom, and they all see it. Chloe swears it's Nadia.
Yeah, it's probably a good place to stop.
It is. So they're being hunted.
Family drama with a ghost involved.
And teen drama.
Yeah, lots of teen drama.
Yeah. I did like the POV from the ghostly viewpoint. That was the best part of it, I thought. Interesting.
Obviously, we don't know what the ghost is thinking or who the ghost is, but we can see what the ghost sees.
And there were some interesting moments. The cast was... I was especially the teens, Kalia Liang and Eddie Madej. I think that was Eddie's first film, and Kalina's not very experienced.
Okay.
And the parent actors, Lucy, and very experienced parent actors, and they kept right up with them. I thought that was impressive.
Yeah, very good acting here.
Yeah.
Well, we get lots of long, lingering shots, apparently from the ghost's point of view, as it moves from room to room inside the house. It's a pretty cool house. And we spend the entirety of the film wandering around inside watching the humans. It's like a depressing version of The Sims.
Yeah, kind of.
I don't think we ever got a shot outside the house.
It's okay. I mean, I'd give it a 6 at least. I liked it. I liked it more than disliked it.
Well, it's a believable yet dysfunctional family. It's a very slow-moving, talky film with very little action. We had assumed that the parents were covering up the fact that Tyler had killed those girls, but it turned out that wasn't the case at all. One thing I didn't like about it is we never found out what the legal thing was.
That's not what it was about, I guess.
The mother was in trouble with the law. The father was thinking about leaving the mother because of the law.
Something going on. Yeah.
Nothing at all came of that.
No, it wasn't resolved or really answered.
Well, it's okay. It's not great, but I would, if it sounds interesting, go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's worth it. Yeah.
And then I think we're both unanimous on 2025's The Parenting.
My favorite of the week.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
Directed by Craig Johnson, written by Kent Sublette, stars Nick Dodani, Brandon Flynn, Brian Cox, Edie Falco, Lisa Kudrow, and Dean Norris.
Recognizable faces.
Hour and 34 minutes.
Yeah. This was a very funny take on an awkward family get-together with an excellent cast. And after it gets going, we get some horror elements as a bonus.
Oh, it's got lots of that.
It does, yeah. It just takes a little while. I mean, it starts out with an opening scene, and then there's quite a while of getting to know these people. It was very well made, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Check out that cast list. If you like those actors, you get a lot of them here.
Yeah.
Well, it's 1983, and Jamie and Allie argue with their mother. I hate you kids. Then something in the basement grabs and eats the mother. Jamie goes downstairs to check it out, and it gets him as well. As Allie walks through the house, all the wallpaper peels off the wall. What do you think, bad B.O.?
That monster really stinks.
Yeah, the monster gets her too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the modern day, we cut to Rohan and Josh driving down the road talking about cats. They're on the way to a huge rental house where all their parents are going to meet. Josh says his parents are normal, and Rohan is jealous of that. Well, they arrive at the house and meet Brenda, who tells she's the caretaker or something like that, who tells them about a big fire there in the house in the 80s. The house has been empty since, and she's the caretaker.
But it's all fixed up now. Very nice.
She's very weird.
She is, yeah.
Sarah calls on the phone and warns Rohan not to propose to Josh this weekend as planned. She's like the weird friend.
Mm-hmm.
Rohan's wealthy adoptive parents arrive. Frank and Sharon awkwardly meet Josh. Liddy and Cliff, Josh's parents, arrive next, and they're more working class. And that's Liddy with 2 D's, not Libby with 2 B's, as we are corrected 16 times throughout the movie.
Yeah, they can't get that straight.
And they brought their 3 little yap-yap dogs with them.
Well, I don't think they were theirs. She was dog sitting,
That's
I
right,
think.
borrowing them, yes.
Yeah.
Someone we don't see shakes a snow globe with a miniature of the house inside, and then it starts to snow for real at the house.
Like voodoo.
The parents are all very annoying, and it's all very awkward for the young gay couple. Josh eats some funny gummies, and he no longer cares about how awkward things are around the parents.
But then that leads to even more awkwardness at dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dinner is comically awkward as well, and Josh doesn't help. It soon becomes a very weird sing-along, and everyone complains about the flaky Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi password, when read aloud, apparently summons some kind of a creature. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Because, you got to read those words aloud in order to get to the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone turns in for the night, but they all hear bumping and grinding from the next bedroom. This is in the trailer. It's very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone hears it, all 3 couples. None of them are doing the bumping or the grinding, but they all assume the others are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut to a person with no mouth banging their head against the wall downstairs.
That's what's making the noise. It's a ghost.
Yeah, the house has definitely got some weirdness going on. And we'll stop there.
It's like a zombie ghost.
It is.
Yeah.
It's all very real and awkward until the demon shows up. It's still funny after that, but it takes a more horror-centric approach. We wondered what happened to Kate the dog.
Yeah,
they had this big, what is it, a collie or a
golden retriever,
I think, or something, yeah, and it's there in the first few scenes.
And then just vanishes.
And then it shows up fine at the very end of the movie, but it's gone through all the action, and the dog would have been involved.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that was kind of a...
That was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The creature at the end, as well as the zombies, really aren't much to look at here. This is all about the excellent cast, a bunch of familiar faces you've seen before. Brian Cox must have had a ball doing this after Succession ended. It's very different.
Yep.
I think all those McDonald's commercials went to his brain.
It's even funnier than I expected.
Yes, it's very funny.
Yeah, and
very
the cast looks like they're having a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a great horror movie, but it is very funny and very entertaining.
Yeah. Favorite of the week for sure.
My favorite of the week as well.
Yeah.
And one we thought would be a really cheap garbage ripoff was 2024's The Little Mermaid.
I was bracing myself for the worst, so I was pleasantly surprised.
It was not that bad.
It was entertaining. Yeah.
I would give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah,
it's not great, but I mean, it's not bad either.
But it's one of those sure liked it more than I disliked it.
Written and directed by Lee Scott, stars Mike Markoff, Lydia Helen, and Jeff Denton, and it's about an hour and a half. And I don't remember where we got this. Okay. It's out there.
It's out there streaming. Yeah.
Spoiler free.
Well,
the cast does a decent job with this telling of the tale, although there aren't enough musical numbers.
No, there's surprisingly there's one.
There is one.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Sort of. Yeah.
There's a musical parade.
Yeah.
It's a serious
It's in the Caribbean.
Yeah. It's a serious take on the tale with plenty of horror elements and some nice references to H.P. Lovecraft thrown in. And we were pleasantly surprised at how entertaining it was.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you're expecting, add a couple points to it. It sounds like garbage. It's not.
It's not. Yeah.
Well, what happens?
Dr. Eric Prince leads an archaeological team digging on the shore. Mr. Collins from the board complains that he's supposed to be doing offshore digging and he's creeping too far inland. But Eric explains that what he's working on might be a lot better. Eric offers a bigger bribe, so that makes it okay for now. And meanwhile, a couple of fishermen out on a boat catch something big in the net.
And I'm like, that guy looks just like Quint out of Jaws.
Yeah,
he's got
he
the
did.
hat and the mustache and the
And
little
his
beard
name
and
is
the outfit.
Quint.
And in the credits, we find that his name was Quint.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they pull the net on board and they see that they've caught a mermaid. This is better than a marlin, says Quint. Well, the mermaid wakes up and chomps Quint with a mouthful of fangs. Then her tail divides into legs, and she hypnotizes the other man.
Yeah, we're told later on that if the mermaid drinks human blood, they can grow legs.
Uh-huh. Eric
And it also cuts down on special effects.
It does, yeah. Well, this enables her to wander around among the humans, too. Eric has a nightmare about vicious mermaids, and he gets a call from a man who has some relics for him to see. The man has some very old coins and jewelry, and a strange woman sold them to him. And what's strange about the coins and jewelry is they're really, really old.
But they're in new condition.
Yeah, almost like they were, found in a shipwreck or something. Perfectly preserved under the sea, maybe? Yeah. Well, anyway, Eric says he'd like to meet this mystery woman. Back at the dig site, they find a mummified body and a fishy-looking pagan idol of Dagon.
Wait, what?
H.P. Lovecraft reference. There's more likely an ancient temple buried right here. And Eric says that's a huge discovery, the biggest thing since King Tut. And we cut to a red-haired woman who looks mighty familiar.
We know.
Yeah, she was the woman in the net. Well, she talks to the man with the coins and the jewelry. She's got some more goodies. And she's very interested in the ancient temple that Eric has found. So she arranges a meeting with Eric. She's Aurora. And she says the trinkets were just some old things the family had. Well, Eric and Aurora flirt and appear to be attracted to one another, and he says that she looks really familiar. Eric and his helpers take a boat out to do some diving, and while down there, Eric sees a red-haired mermaid pretty clearly, and his helper sees it as well, so he knows he's not crazy, and the mermaid chases off a shark that was coming after him. Well, the next day, Eric tells Aurora what he saw. She's not as skeptical as she should be about mermaids, and even hints that she might be a mermaid herself.
She could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to stop there?
Yeah, probably could.
It's a mermaid.
It's a mermaid, and she's...
There's really nothing too... Well, she did eat Quint, but there's nothing too horrific so far. But we get there. We get there good.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, this movie needed more songs and dancing. These live-action remakes sure are different from the original Disney, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot of references here to H.P. Lovecraft, who wrote about the Deep Ones, which aren't exactly mermaids, but close enough for now. They're more the creature from the Black Lagoon type of creatures.
Mm-hmm.
But Innsmouth, Dagon, the elder gods, and more all get name-dropped here. We were wondering what was keeping Aurora from hypnotizing some construction guys just to open the magical tomb again. She knows right where it is, and even owns the land that it's on by the end of the film.
Yeah, basically the gist is long ago these good people shut down the
old gods.
Mermaids and the evil, and put a cap on the temple and locked things up, and by digging it up and breaking the seal, this starts the dark magic going again.
But for some reason she can't do it herself.
And she can't do it herself, but she owns it now, and she can hypnotize people.
She tricked Eric into opening it, but that didn't work out throughout the movie, but she could have just got somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh well, the acting is fine, and everything looks good here. Some of the dialogue is kind of atrocious. I mean, consider the story.
That's a weak point. Yeah, the dialogue is a weak point.
And the story is about as predictable as can be once you know that there's a tomb that needs to be opened. But it's not bad overall. It was actually quite a bit better than we expected.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. Yeah.
All right, so a couple months ago we did The Mousetrap, which was the Steamboat Willie movie.
Mm-hmm.
And since 2022, we've been burdened with Pooh, Blood, and Honey movies. As these old cartoon characters go into the public domain, of course, they're going to get used for horror movies.
You betcha.
Well, guess who just came to the free land?
Popeye.
Popeye the Sailor Man. Doot, doot.
Or Popeye the Slayer Man.
In this case, yes.
Yeah.
There's two of them. Came out within weeks of each other. Popeye the Slayer Man and Popeye's Revenge.
Yeah.
One of them we liked. One of them we didn't so much.
Yeah. One is definitely better.
The first one, Popeye the Slayer Man. Directed by Robert Michael Ryan. Written by Coyle Carvin, John Doohan, and Jeff Miller. Stars Jason Robert Stevens, Sarah Nicken, and Angela Relucio. And it's an hour and 28 minutes. There's a trailer in the show notes. And the movie poster shows this great big old Popeye-looking guy from the back, and it says over on the side, he is what he is.
He is.
And that is my biggest complaint about the other movie.
Absolutely.
This one actually has some Popeye references.
He says, I am what I am.
Yes.
There's lots of spinach. There's olive oil. And,
olive oil, sweet pea. Wimpy shows up.
Wimpy makes an appearance. There's all these homages to
They make
Popeye.
use of Popeye in this.
The other one does not very much.
The other one is just a generic slasher that looks like Popeye.
Yeah.
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 There's no... Okay, well, anyway.
Well, like we say, this take on the character was surprisingly good. The practical effects are well done. Popeye looks kind of cartoon realistic.
Oh, it's a costume,
he's
for sure.
cartoony.
Yeah.
Well, but he looks cartoony and a little bit rubbery, which I thought worked, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit unexpressive, but, and there's some dark humor around the edges, but it's mostly pretty serious. Pretty standard slasher fare, but we liked it. But Popeye references. It's a Popeye.
Neither of these movies are going to win an Academy Award.
No.
But I did enjoy this one more than the other, because it is clearly a Popeye movie.
And they both went with practical effects, which always helps.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Well, a woman runs through the foggy oceanside town toward a locked warehouse. She breaks the lock and rushes into the cannery. 2 men are chasing her, but one of them has heard stories about this place and is hesitant to follow her inside. The woman, Adrienne, stops when she sees a bulky man with big arms standing in the shadows. Well, the bad men corner her until an empty can of spinach rolls into view.
Uh-oh.
The hugely strong monster of a man tears one of the baddies in half and crushes the skull of the other. She calls him a monster, and he says...
I am what I am.
You knew it was coming.
Yep.
And credits roll. Well, Dexter is making a documentary about the Sailor Man, a local legend. Dexter clearly likes Olivia, and Lisa seems to like Seth. So we got these teenagers. They say this Sailor Man is still out there, roaming the docks.
College age.
Okay.
Yeah, not quite teenagers.
Dexter has arranged for all his friends to show up at the docks and help him with the film. Well, we cut to Mr. Allister, the owner of that cannery, who meets with Margot, a woman whose clients want to buy and demolish the old cannery. The place has been empty for 20 years. It might be due to the hazardous contaminations under the factory. What about that crazy ghost story about the Sailor Man? They smell pipe smoke, and Allister goes off to investigate.
That's how you know he's near.
Turns out, Margot was only scared by Angus, the maintenance man for the property. Okay, it wasn't Popeye.
Not yet.
Angus, later on left in the building alone, does a security sweep before locking up. He finds what's left of the 2 baddies from the pre-credit sequence, and as he leaves them, he sees the Sailor Man, who squishes his head.
Pops his eye.
Pops his eyes. That's where the name came from. Dexter, Olivia, and Katie talk about the Sailor Man, and one of the drinkers there, Bernie, growls out the tale for them. Yep, harbinger time.
Yep.
Jesse and Terry come in, and they're all over Olivia. Joey is Katie's abusive boyfriend. Well, the young people all arrive at the cannery, and Olivia, who is not Olive, by the way, it's Olivia, so just saying.
Right.
And she picks the lock. Dexter, Lisa, Katie, Olivia, and Seth go inside. Back at the bar, Joey, Terry, and Jesse talk about the Sailor Man, and they plan to sneak into the cannery to get Katie.
So, 3 more victims coming.
Well, Lisa and Seth split off and explore on their own, and they run into trouble with a spinach can. Dexter and Olivia explore as well, while Katie watches the security monitors. Outside, Margot comes back and wonders what all the cars are there for. She finds Angus's remains and then sees the sailor who comes after her. After ripping a chunk of her scalp off, he shuts her in a compactor and turns it on.
Juicy.
Oh, my.
Mm-hmm.
And they die one after the other after that, but you know how this goes.
Yep.
You've seen this before.
Yeah.
The prosthetics and practical gore effects are good. Maybe not exactly lifelike or expressive, but they do the job.
Well, I think
if Popeye was like, a sports team mascot,
yeah,
it's not too far off.
Yeah, latexy, but I think it added to the cartooniness.
Yes,
of him, which worked here, I think.
Popeye gets in a few zingers and one-liners, but he's kind of hard to understand here. Fortunately, he doesn't talk much.
Got a really growly voice.
Yeah. But he does talk, which is different from the next movie. We liked the Wimpy cameo. What do you mean I'm not going to give you credit for a cheeseburger and you can't pay me next week?
Yeah.
Well, we did get spinach, a corncob pipe, and some catchphrases. Other than some over-the-top deaths, there wasn't as much humor here as I would have liked. It's a pretty typical slasher stalker film, just with a more well-known antagonist. Yeah, I would not call... Obviously, it's Popeye, so it's kind of stupid, but it's not a comedy.
No, not so much, no. It's pretty serious.
For a public domain cash grab, it's not too bad. It's got a full, coherent story that all makes sense, and the closing credits have a banging theme song, and I'd be totally up for a sequel to this one.
And they totally could, yeah.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah.
All right, well, what is that? Oh, my goodness. Popeye, that's The Revenge.
Popeye's Revenge. Okay.
Directed by William Stead, written by Harry Boxley and E.G. Seeger, stars Emily Mogelner, Connor Powles, and Danielle Ronald. Hour and 19 minutes, so it's kind of short. And there's a trailer in the show notes. Spoiler free.
A very angry Popeye picks off a group of people in an isolated location by a lake in this one. But with a swap, the killer could have been any big angry guy picking people off in creative and gory ways. It's decent enough, but it doesn't make enough of the fact that it's Popeye. That was really our big complaint. Yeah. And though there are multiple popping eyes, as well as an assortment of other juicy practical effects, it was better than we expected, but not, anything special.
It was
just a
fine.
moderate thumbs up.
Yeah. If this guy had been wearing a hockey mask instead of the Popeye face, it would have been a Friday the 13th movie.
It easily could have been.
I think our biggest complaint here is there's nothing that makes this guy Popeye other than the visuals.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other characters. There's no catchphrases.
There's barely. He's got the big forearms, and he's wearing a sailor suit.
I think he kills somebody with an
anchor
anchor at some point.
Yeah, and there's the popping eyes. But
other than his appearance, there's no Popeye here.
There is an Olive Oil. There's a character named Olive Oil.
Does she ever actually get a name?
I'm not positive.
I know the IMDb shows her as Olive Oil, but
no, they don't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our least favorite of the week for both of us, I think, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Well, we get an animation that tells about a baby who was born with some deformities. This is by the Blood and Honey people, isn't it?
Yeah, but they said it's not in the same universe.
Yeah, but it's got the same kind of intro with the animation.
Yeah.
I like the Blood and Honey animations. This one didn't really have much to it.
Yeah, it was okay.
Well, we get this animation that tells about a baby who was born with some deformities. Big fat arms. He had huge arms and a weird face. The child was constantly bullied until he killed one of the bullies, choking him so hard his eyes popped out.
Popeye.
His parents then locked him in the basement alone, and an angry mob came to the house and burned it to the ground, killing his parents. The child was burned in the fire but escaped. The crowd chased him to the lake, where he fell in and disappeared. Popeye's body was never found. All right, that was all animated.
Mm-hmm.
Now we cut to Mia and her two friends who are out by the lake to make a video. Mia has a bad feeling about the legend of Popeye. Popeye's old house is currently under renovation after 15 years. Cherry is only there to make out with Alan, and the documentary soon turns into an accidental porn film. You don't turn your camera on before you do that. Mia wanders around outside doing sound recording stuff, and she hears someone out there with her. A bald man in a sailor cap beats her to death with an anchor. Out of nowhere, he also drives his fist through Cherry's chest, killing her instantly. Alan puts up more of a fight, but he can't escape the lumbering killer, and his eyes get popped. Well, Popeye's imaginary friend slips a note under his door. Welcome back, as credits roll.
Okay.
Oh, well, that was pre-credit.
Dang.
Laura and her husband George argue about the property that they've just inherited. It's the land where legendary Popeye was supposed to have died. Their daughter Tara likes Dylan, and they're off, along with Kathy, to the lake. Beanie, Nick, Sky, and Donna are going along as well. Oh my goodness, it's a boatload of teenagers.
It is at an isolated location.
In the woods, in a cabin.
With no Wi-Fi signal.
Well, yeah, we have seen this before, haven't we? They want to turn Popeye's house into a haunted attraction. Which is really dumb.
It's
There's
way
no
out
mention
in
of
the middle.
Halloween, and it is way out in the middle
And
of
it's
nowhere.
way out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
And it's her parents' house, and they've got no permission to do this, and yeah, just dumb.
Yeah.
Well, the group literally runs into a fisherman on the road who warns him not to go to Popeye's house as the fog is lethal there. What?
What?
Well, the 7 young people arrive at the house. It's creepy, but they've been working at cleaning and restoring it.
And I like how this guy He warns him about not going there, but, not going out into the fog. What's he do? He goes fishing in the fog.
Well, sure. Yeah, the same guy, yeah.
Like, you just warned people not to encounter the fog.
At the dock, Popeye takes notice of new occupants and kills that fisherman we saw earlier.
Yep.
Back in town, George and Laura talk to Jane, their neighbor, who says, he's back. 3 are dead in the Popeye house.
And the implication here is more that he's a ghost that manifests with the fog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. But, in the Slayer Man, he was a tangible. He used to be a normal person,
a mutant, more or less.
And he's always there physically. And this guy comes and goes, I guess.
He's supernatural. Yes.
Yeah. More of a supernatural bent to it.
Well, Tara tries to get all her friends to work rather than play. Donna and Dylan try to convince the others as well. There's a knock at the door, and a crazy-eyed woman comes in. You're not supposed to be here. He's not going to like this. If you leave now, he won't hurt you. The warning is not well received by the gang. I want you all to suffer the way he suffered, she says before running off. So again, if this guy was wearing a hockey mask, this would be Jason Voorhees' mother.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out, oh my goodness, it's Popeye's mother, Olive Oil.
Well, sister, I think. Not mother.
You think?
Yeah, it's his sister.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not get that impression. Okay.
Yeah, that's the impression I had. Yeah.
She's somehow related to him. They're family.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Later, Nick and Skye make out in the hot tub. She wants him to break up with Donna. Oh, we've always got to have this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They argue and he leaves. Popeye shows up and kills her as Olive Oil shows up to egg him on. And we should stop there.
Yeah. Other stuff happens. People get killed.
Oh, yeah. One thing I didn't mention earlier. Who knew Popeye was British? Yeah, this almost needed subtitles at times.
They're British.
They're all British, yes. And, of course, here, Popeye was never a real sailor. His parents just dressed him like one.
Okay.
Although he does seem to have a lair on a little yacht.
Yeah.
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 But he's not a real sailor. He died as a child.
And he really likes the anchor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And, of course, this was made by the same people who made Pooh, Blood and Honey and its sequel, but without the loving care and attention to detail those films enjoyed. /S sarcasm. This is a basic kill the horny teenagers one at a time in a campground movie. If Popeye had been a guy in a hockey mask, no one would have looked twice at this film.
Interchangeable.
Some shots of the lake are covered in small boats. Yeah, there's a marina with like 24 boats stuck, anchored there, and some other boats out in the water. And then other times it's, a gray, deserted, nothing place.
Mm-hmm.
The continuity here was clearly not a priority.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
The whole thing, in my opinion, seemed rushed and subpar. Nobody expects a lot of Academy Awards for these kind of rip-off movies.
No.
But, it's not even as good as The Slayer Man. It's kind of generic.
I didn't enjoy it as much as their Pooh, Blood, and Honey work.
The second Pooh movie was better than the first,
yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
But you'd think this being their third movie
that they would have learned more, but yeah.
I think they heard the Slayer Man was being
back.
made, and they decided to jump in there and rush it out.
Got to cram it out fast.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, maybe that was a factor. Yeah.
What's the next big comic book?
It was okay, but not great.
Yeah, what's the next one coming out?
There's another Steamboat Willie coming out soon.
Yeah.
Screamboat is coming soon. As far as who's next, as far as the cartoony things, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Had something in mind there that just slipped right out.
There will be more, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Probably a third Pooh movie. Actually, I've heard there will be a third Pooh movie.
Okay, yeah, totally could.
Pooh 3.
Pooh 3.
Well, that's it for this week. And we'll talk to you next week. We will have 5 more movies. Why don't we do some oldies?
Okay.
Yeah, how about some black and white?
Yeah.
I've done black and white in at least a week or 2.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm in favor of that.
Yeah.
So, that's it for now.
That's it for now. I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
And we'll talk to you next week.
See ya.